Oogie Boogie, give me back the heart.
You want it? Well then come on over and get it! Ah! Now, let's see if I can get their attention. Oh, hello! This is it? Nobody disrespects me! Nobody!
Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. In the last part we explored a majority of Halloween Town, and now it's time for our boss fight against Oogie Boogie himself, who starts off by pushing you into this little roulette wheel area, where a couple of Gargoyles are going to try and hunt you down. He can spawn more of them as you go through the fight. Oogie spends the entirety of the fight on the raised ledge above us, where he's mostly out of reach. But occasionally the buttons in the center of the area will light up, and if you time it well and get him between a section with you, you can trap him in some iron fencing and actively just wail on him with your keyblade. At this point, his only actual attack is slapping you outright. But eventually he will boot you off this, and you need to wait for the switches to glow again, which you have no way to influence yourself. You can hit him from below down here if you actively use the Thunder spell, but it's not the best for damage. But if you actively spam the gravity spell, you can do some pretty good stuff with that, especially if you summon Bambi for infinite MP for a little bit there effectively. As he circles around the arena, he'll throw two kinds of dice at you. Ones that flash and eventually explode on impact, and those that don't. The ones that don't explode, you can hit back at him if you time it right for some tech points and extra damage, but they're also the central gimmick of this fight. Depending on what the dice end up rolling, different effects will spawn in. If he rolls nothing but ones, circular saws will fly about the lower part of the arena. If it's nothing but twos, two more Gargoyles will spawn in. Nothing but threes, two White Knights will spawn in. Nothing but fours, a cavalcade of knives will actively descend from the ceiling and swing around for a few moments. Nothing but fives will spawn in two Search Ghosts, and finally nothing but sixes will restore 50 of his HP. He can also stomp on the ground to influence the dice if they've already rolled, so be on the lookout and react accordingly. If he spawns any of the traps, namely the circular saws or the knives, dodge, rolling, and jumping is your best bet there. There is one other attack to this fight, but depending on how well you play, you may just never see it. Namely, if you try to enclose Oogie Boogie into a fenced area and miss him, guns fire at you while the section is raised, and not for nothing, that can do a lot of damage. This fight isn't too bad. It does keep you on your toes, but on repeat playthroughs, it definitely feels a little bit tedious, as you can find yourself very easily just waiting for him to throw the dice over and over again, or waiting for the switches to glow because it's kind of random whenever they want to do that. Heck, if memory serves, even on Proud Mode, this fight isn't too much to worry about. The damage is higher, yes, but because the flow of the fight is dictated by Oogie Boogie instead of your own actions, there's many more moments to sit down and recoup in the case you need to. While we wait to whittle down the rest of his HP, let's talk Oogie Boogie's VAs. In English, he's voiced by the late Ken Page, who only ever really played Oogie himself, as well as King Gator in All Dogs to Heaven voice work-wise. Prior to his death in 2024, though, he was largely a Broadway musical performer. He debuted as the Cowardly Lion in some of the original performances of The Wiz, but also occasionally performed Old Deuteronomy in various performances of Cats alongside a cavalcade of other characters and shows. Ooh, we just got Second Chance. That's a goal on critical mode, which you only get at level 36 on the Dream Shield route. You can learn that as late as level 90 on other routes. Second Chance is effectively Undershirt from the Battle Network games. If an attack or combo would kill you, it will instead leave you at 1 HP until a completely disconnected hit happens. Thus, it's quite the extra survival tool, especially on Proud Mode. So, that heart was a failure after all. And for beating that fight, we not only get a Holy Circlet, we get Ansem's Report 7. We're really jumping up in those numbers. Huh? Whoa, how did he get so big? Look, it's brimming with the power of darkness. Oogie Boogie's drawing power from those dark blobs. so we just have to destroy those things, right? And thus the proper end boss of Halloween Town shows up, Oogie's Manor, which you can actively just completely leave behind and not fight for right now if you don't want to for some reason, just like with the opposite armor, as well as one other fight in the game, actually. Before we head back to that fight and we take care of these rare truffles, though, let's talk about the rest of the abilities you get at level 36. Here on the Dream Shield route, we of course get Second Chance. Over on the Dream Sword route, you get another Treasure Magnet, but if you're playing with the Dream Rod, you'll actively get Aerial Sweep there, where Sora can actively automatically jump up with the Spinning Strike against aerial enemies without having to input a jump command at all. That's actually a really good ability that I wish you could get a little earlier on some of the other routes, but honestly, it's good to get whenever you can get it. It's a really good tool in general. As for the Holy Circle we got from the first phase of Oogie Boogie there, it's probably one of my favorite accessories in the mid-game. It gives you no defense boosts, but it boosts the equipped person's AP by 3 and gives them a 20% resistance to fire, ice, and thunder elemental damage, which really goes a long way in certain fights, honestly. So the cutscenes that started off the fight against Oogie's Manor pretty much describe the fight pretty well in terms of our objective. There's like 7 or 8 shadow orbs placed along the possessed manor that we need to destroy with either magic or physical attacks in order to end this fight. With that said, while he can't move, Oogie can still fight back. His most prominent attack is homing fireballs that come out of a lantern in his one hand. If you actually make your way up there, you can attack the lantern physically or by using Blizzard on it, and doing so will eventually destroy it. With that said, if you do that, he'll just light another one up that's shaped like a spider a little higher up, but I think you can also destroy that one. Watch out though, because he can also swing the lanterns around physically for some hits, and if you actively linger around, I think, the hands that are holding the lanterns after they're destroyed, he will try to slap you with the hands, albeit it's pretty easy to dodge that. His only other direct attack only really happens when you're towards the top of the tower. Namely, he'll actively breathe some purple smoke out of his mouth that causes the same poison status ailment as the Parasite Cage and Black Fungi attacks. As you search out and destroy the Shadow Globs as well, more and more Gargoyles start to spawn in here. Not for nothing, they're actively the more annoying source of damage in this fight, on top of just, falling down to the floor, not for nothing. You could probably even figure it out just by watching it, but not for nothing, Oogie Boogie, as much as I love his stage presence, is easily the easiest boss in the latter set of worlds in both phases. But not for nothing, don't underestimate the fireball damage, as that can very easily surprise you and kill you, especially on Proud Mode. As for Oogie Boogie's Japanese voice, in the game here he's voiced by Hiroshi Hatanaka, while in the film he was voiced by Otomo Kobayashi. Those two VAs actually share another character, Pumbaa from The Lion King. The latter actor voices those characters in their movies, while the former usually does so in video games and cartoons. Hatanaka is also the voice for Prince Edward in Enchanted, as well as its sequel, as well as Flynn Rider in Tangled. I really like this fight, though, especially compared to the first phase, because it's one of the few times the game does something that really feels big like this. And not for nothing, it's another case where you can very much just look at the game as it is now and go, yeah, no, this was absolutely a platformer in early development, huh? With that said, it's this fight that causes the Red Trinity to despawn in the original Western PS2 release, so if you took care of the fight like we just did without grabbing that, you're not getting 100% of the Jiminy's Journal in the Western PS2 release. Oopsie. For completing that fight, we get another Power of the Stars upgrading Gravity to Gravira, which not only has a lot more range, it also does a lot more damage.
Sally, why didn't I listen to you?
Don't feel bad, Jack. We'll come up with another plan for Halloween. Next time, we'll do it together.
I guess we have no choice. We'll have to cancel the Heartless Halloween Festival for now. Here, I want you to have this. And we get the Pumpkin Head, one of my favorite Keyblades in the game. Visit us anytime, Sora. Next year's Halloween will be the scariest ever. Emotion, memory. We put in all the necessary ingredients. What else do you need to make a heart? What is a heart, anyway? I can't figure it out. I feel like you're asking more philosophical questions than metaphysical, and I don't think I have the space to answer that. Before I talk about the Pumpkinhead, let's take a look at that Ansem's report, why don't we? We just got Ansem's report 7. I'm now studying material from the meteors that rained down that fateful night. What a find! The material is foreign to our world. It is elastic to the touch, and when the two pieces are combined, they bond easily. None of the records I've scoured even mention such a substance. Was it introduced to this world when I opened that door? I wonder how many other such materials drift through the atmosphere of this tiny world. I wish I could soar off and find out. Could there be uncharted worlds up there? My curiosity never ceases to grow, but I should stop speaking of such unrealistic dreams. For now, there is no way to venture outside this world. My people and I are all but prisoners of this tiny place. Okay then. With that, we do actively want to stay in Halloween Town for just a little bit longer because there actively are items in the room where Oogie's Manor once stood that even if you didn't get the Red Trinity in the Western PS2 release, you could still grab these items. Along the way, though, let's talk about the Pumpkinhead. The Pumpkinhead is one of the game's few long Keyblades, so you have a very good range with it, and it boosts Sora's strength by a whopping 7. Plus, it has a critical rate of 2 times, so any critical chance that an attack has is inherently doubled, making it very useful for physical fighters. With that said, it's not very defensive, as like the Jungle King, it has a recoil stat of 1, so you're not going to be really deflecting much with it. Probably not the best choice for people who like playing defensively or love spamming magic, but ultimately it is still a very good Keyblade. This here is the Red Trinity in question. If you were playing the Western PS2 release after completing the Oogie's Manor boss fight, this would despawn. Heck, I think technically upon entering the Oogie's Manor boss fight, it would despawn, as I don't think you can enter that arena with that boss fight active and be able to interact with Trinities. With that said, our business here in Halloween Town is concluded for now. There's going to be some synthesis grinding down the line we'll do here, of course, but also there's a couple of other items I just can't get yet. And that's the shortcut I told you about that takes you right back to Halloween Town Center. Before we leave, let's talk to some friends here, why not? You better keep an eye on those 3 rascals. They may pull a prank the second you look away. Halloween Town's quiet with Oogie Boogie gone. We're gonna shake it up. Quiet's boring. Actually, I don't like pulling pranks, but I don't want to be left out either. I'm not doing anything bad. Not now, anyway. I'm keeping an eye on Lock and Barrel. Sure you are. With that done, my first objective is actively to head back to Traverse Town. You might recall we got a torn page in Dr. Finkelstein's lab, so it's time for us to head back into the book and actively finish this little subworld off on its own. And they definitely save what's arguably the most intensive minigame of sorts for last down here on the bottom left. A winding, muddy path indeed. Howdy do, Pooh Bear. What you doing there, seemingly walking around in circles? Oh, Pooh Bear. What are you doing, Pooh? Shh. Quiet, or they'll get away. Who? The people who took everyone away. See their footprints. We are all sticking together to make sure no one got lost again. But then I saw some footprints that needed following, so I did. Suddenly everyone was gone. Bad people must have taken them away. Actually, Pooh, I think these footprints are... Anyway, I'll help you look for your friends. Our objective in the final page of 100 Acre Wood is to once again find all of Pooh Bear's friends and do so within a specific time limit, though thankfully that time limit doesn't start until you find the first friend who's always within the center of this bush here in the center of the first little area. Get to one side of it with or without Pooh Bear next to you and investigate it to find our first friend. Eeyore? Hello. What are you doing? Looking for sticks to build my house. Again. Sticks for your house? This place already feels like a house. Seems like a great spot to gather everyone once we find them. Pooh's Money Path. Help Pooh find his lost friends. Target him with R1 to guide him. This is actively why that little Interstitial was around back in the swing minigame area where you needed to guide him around. Lock onto Pooh and walk in a direction, and he will follow you. We need to guide him to where all of his friends are located around the area. With that said, that also requires getting him up here in some cases. Thankfully, in some cases like Tigger, you just need to talk to him in order to actively recruit him back, so to speak.
I saw Pooh walking away, so I bounced after him. Then I bounced a bit too high, and I lost sight of old Pooh Bear.
In order to get the 100% reward of sorts for 100 Acre Wood, I've foreshadowed the entire time we've been doing things in this world. You need to complete this minigame within 5 minutes on that timer. And not for nothing, with how this minigame's structured, it's very easy to use up most of that time. Thankfully, they're always in the same spot, so you don't need to worry about searching them out in various locations. Next up, we're going after Rabbit, who's in the holes on the far side wall down there. Bring Pooh over to the one he's in to start with, and then he'll run back in and out of the other 2 holes trying to escape him. Talk to him during that, and you will recruit him like we already did Tigger, and you'll be most of the way done with this minigame already, not for nothing. Owl looked so intent on something, well, I just had to follow him. But then Owl flew off into the sky, and there I was, all by myself. Probably the longest thing in this minigame is either going to get Roo or Owl. As Roo is over on a branch near the little circular area where we're putting everyone, and you can get him down either by talking to him directly and then waiting a little bit, or by bringing Pooh over there directly. And to get Owl, we need to get Pooh all the way up to the top of this area, which requires taking him up with a little flower that he's next to right now, where you kind of need to guide him into it. And then you need to get him across the log that's here in the center of the area, which requires a couple of extra steps, namely shooting either a fire spell or a gravity spell at the beehive at the top there to plug the hole there, because otherwise he'll fall out of it for some reason. That part's never quite made sense to me, but oh well. Also, wait, actually thinking about it, saving future me some effort here. I was wrong a few moments ago. It's not Owl that's the only one to get up here, it's Piglet. Piglet's in the hole in the tree in the distance. As only Pooh is small enough to get in there, we need to get him over there. Owl, though, does fly in and out of his main position there in the far distance, but thankfully you can just wait for him to show up while you're maybe trying to get Pooh across this specific log. This minigame individually is pretty relaxed, but not for nothing. Because of its active length, messing up the goal time is easily the most costly here, as easy as the minigame technically is. Not for nothing, later occurrences of 100 Acre Wood definitely make for more interesting playthroughs, both in terms of the narrative within them, the level design within it, but also the minigame structures and length I think are just more varied and interesting there. We've talked already at decent length across the LP how Kingdom Hearts 1 differs in various ways from later entries in the series, be it combat focuses, level design and quirks in within that, etc. But out of all of those, the minigames, especially most of them here in 100 Acre Wood, are weirdly where you can more easily feel the whole first game growing pains deal that a lot of series have. It's definitely not as harsh here in Kingdom Hearts 1 as it is in other series like Crash or Sly or some other things, but you can very easily feel it, even down to game feel, whenever you eventually start playing Kingdom Hearts 2. Alright, Piglet, we got ya.
Hello, Piglet.
Pooh, where are we?
I don't know where we are either, Piglet. But if we go back the way we came, we should find home.
My Pooh is slowly turning more into Professor Pig from Batman, I'm noticing. Or at least some sort of serial killer. Look, I don't know how Jim Cummings does that. And before we leave, let's get Owl too.
I thought I'd better have a word with Roo about his bouncing. The next thing I knew, quite to my surprise, I was lost too.
But wait, Owl, you can fly. You should be able to get high up and actively be able to reposition yourself more easily than the rest of them can. Huh. Here's Roo right over here. Whack that tree, and then we can come back, and he will eventually have fallen down. But you can alternatively just bring Pooh over there, and he'll jump down automatically. I got scared when everyone disappeared, so I hid. One friend to go, and we're good. Not for nothing, while this minigame is definitely long, they're also probably the most generous about the score or time you need to reach in order to actively get the reward at the end of the world. As here I am finishing it almost with a minute to spare with no real complaints about it. Mind you, I say that if memory serves, as a kid, I was here for like 10 minutes trying to get Pooh to coordinate with me because I just couldn't figure out the lock-on deal pretty well. It's like Dampé in the certain minigames in Ocarina and Majora.
Everyone's here.
And for completing that, we're also going to immediately get our reward, an EXP ring, which boosts the equipped person's MP by 1 and their incoming EXP by 20%.
I'm so glad we're all together again. I didn't know what to do when I was all alone.
Oh, Piglet, you gotta be brave.
You weren't lonely at all?
Lonely? Are you kidding? I'm a Tigger! The most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. But I do admit, friends are awfully fun, too. Sink, sink, sink.
Hey, Pooh. What are you thinking about now?
Oh, well, I'm just thinking about, what to think about.
Well, I'm off.
Sora, where are you going?
I'm gonna go look for my friends. They're waiting for me.
Bounce on back again.
I hope you find your friends.
Sora, don't forget, we shall always be here. If you'd like to visit again, that is.
And that's our business concluded in 100 Acre Wood, mostly. For the 100% reward, I've foreshadowed every trip to 100 Acre Wood. We actively do need to head back in there and go back to Pooh's house to talk to Owl. Plus, there's something we can actively do if we want to talk to Pooh there specifically. Something about this has always felt a little awkward admittedly, but it's at least pretty quick. I spent so much time on the swing. We can then light the firewood on fire to give him some warmth. Thank you, Sora. This is nice and warm. You've helped us so much. This is just something to say thank you. And for that, we get a mithril synthesis material. But our main goal is to go talk to Owl, where we first met him all the way on our first trip to 100 Acre Wood.
You've been a great help, Sora. Thank you. You helped Pooh get honey from the bees. You helped protect Rabbit's carrots. You helped find Eeyore's lost tail. You bounced along with Tigger and Roo, and you found all of us when we were lost. We can't thank you enough. This is from all of us in the 100 Acre Wood. Thus, our final reward here in 100 Acre Wood is Sora's cheer ability. Like with Goofy's that I believe he's already learned, that will increase the amount of time as someone can stay on screen. So if you like using summons, you need to finish 100 Acre Wood to use them to their fullest effect. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 26, if memory serves, we're heading straight into our next world. See you guys then!